Hey guys, welcome to today's video. We're going to be going through my July reading wrap-up, my August TBR, and the books that I'm currently reading that are, I guess, kind of in the middle of that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right in. So diving into my July reads, I did talk about a couple of these in my books I read in 2023 so far video. I only read about like 5 books this month, so I'm going to try to fly through this. Starting with the first book, we have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I know this book is super popular, and a lot of people compare this to Love in Other Words. I personally liked this better than Love in Other Words, and I totally see like why they are compared a lot and how they are extremely similar, just with some slight plot changes. I did enjoy this. It kept me entertained, but I rated it 3.75 stars. Honestly, with the conflict that portrayed in this book, I just don't really think that I could personally live with it, and I think that's what bumps down my rating. The next book that I read was such a random Barnes & Noble find. I have not heard anyone talk about this book, and I saw it, and once I read the plot, it definitely sounded up my alley, and that is The Island by Natasha Preston. Then I started doing a little bit of research, and I saw the reviews on it, and they were not great. But because the plot sounded interesting, it's about a bunch of influencers who are invited to go to a new amusement park on an island that's supposed to be really creepy and very gothic and eerie, and they're supposed to basically document the whole thing and share with their followers to, you know, gain hype for the opening. Basically, characters start dying one by one or disappearing, whatever. I will say it was creepy. Like, when I was listening to it, it definitely had like a creepy, eerie vibe for sure. But honestly, I was happy it was over when it ended. I personally felt absolutely no connection to the book, to any of the characters, barely even remember the plot twist. Like, it just wasn't great. I rated it 2 stars. I understand why people were not really a fan of this book. Do with it as you will, but I don't really recommend it. It was creepy, but overall, the plot twist and the ending was not worth reading this. I just realized I totally skipped over the first book, so here we go. The first book that I read in July was One Italian Summer. This I actually listened to from the library, so I don't have the physical book. It was good, and I did enjoy it. It kept me pretty entertained, actually. It was not what I was expecting it to be, and I do think that it has a very cool plot concept, and I would like to see it as a show or a movie. But for some reason, as a book, I just feel like I didn't really connect that much to it. So I rated it 3.75 stars. But I will say the audiobook is narrated by Lauren Graham, who is Lorelai Gilmore on Gilmore Girls, who is one of my favorite characters of all time. She just fit the character, and especially if you're a big Gilmore Girls fan, it just gives you Gilmore Girls vibes, because the main character goes to Italy to kind of connect with her mom, because her mom had recently passed away and she was like her best friend in the entire world, and they were supposed to go on this trip to Italy together because her mom had gone when she was younger. So she ends up going by herself because, like I said, her mom passed away, and she ends up connecting with her mom in a very unique way. It is a fascinating concept, and I wish that I loved it more than I did. It was good, but like I said, I feel like it would make a really good show or movie. Next, I read The Tale of Despereaux. So I was actually reading this out of nostalgia because I did not read a lot as a kid at all. But sometimes, you know, schools would kind of like have you read a book for like project or something in elementary school. And I remember reading this as a kid, but I couldn't really remember what it was about or the concept. I do remember the mouse, and I did remember like one of the other characters and some of the scenes, and I remember just enjoying it as a kid, which sticks out to me considering, like I said, I was not a reader. I could not get into reading as a kid. The fact that I enjoyed it back then definitely made me want to read it, and I found it at a thrift shop, and I was like, oh yeah, we definitely gotta reread it. Like I said, I read it for the nostalgia. It was super cute, but I did rate it a 3.75 stars, which is funny because I feel like that's just been my go-to rating lately. And mostly that high for the nostalgia. It has a very fascinating story. It's kind of like 3 stories that all connect into one. It was cute. And let me know if you've read this, like whether you were a kid or an adult. I'm curious to hear other people's thoughts. And the last book that I read in July was A Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I had heard a lot of good things about this book over the last few months, and I specifically heard that the audiobook was really good. So I actually ended up listening to it, and the audiobook was really good. So this was actually a book club pick for a book club I'm a part of for this month, and we have our meeting tomorrow. So I really haven't given it a full review yet. I finished it the other day. I really enjoyed it, and the plot twist just kept coming throughout it, which I really like in thrillers. I like when they can throw you off. I had some suspicions, but they were like kind of off. So I did enjoy this, and I do think that the audiobook was really good. Still deciding what I want to rate it. I would probably say a 4-star just because it had a lot of plot twists that got me. And the story was just fascinating to me. Absolutely kept me engaged and entertained the entire time. I feel like my rating changes after I talk it out with other people who've read the book. I will forget so many things and so many details. Talking about it with other people who have read it helps me kind of get a better vibe for it. I do think that it's a really good mystery thriller, and you guys should check it out if you haven't already. Let me know your thoughts. Spoiler free, please, because we want to keep the comment section very spoiler free in case anyone hasn't read it. So that was all that I read for July. And if you guys saw my every book that I read in 2023 so far video, then you've probably already seen me talk about these books, but I'm currently reading 2 books. I tried starting a couple others, but they were at like the wrong time where I was like busy, so I couldn't focus. So I haven't really started any others aside of these 2. First, I'm currently reading Final Offer. Oh my gosh, my nails match. Can we talk about how perfectly that matches? That is so satisfying. I really enjoyed the other books in the Dreamland Billionaire series, especially the first book, because it had a lot of like Disney inspo, and like if you can't tell, I'm a big Disney person. I have enjoyed it so far. This one, I feel like I'm kind of struggling to get through. I think I'm only a few pages past this. I've been going back and forth between my Kindle and the book itself, and I was really hoping to finish this before August, but that unfortunately hasn't happened. Hopefully I will finish this by the end of August. And then the other book I'm reading is Find Your People by Jenny Allen. So this book I believe is Christian nonfiction, and it's basically about building community, finding friends, that kind of thing. But this is so much more of like a self-help book. So for a while I was going through it in the morning and like highlighting, you know, whatever I found was interesting. So I just haven't given myself the time in the mornings to do that in a bit. So I think I'm definitely going to get back to doing that this month. I have been enjoying this book, and it feels like a friend is talking to you, so that's pretty cool. And then the books that are on my August TBR, basically these are the books that I want to finish reading. They're the rest of my summer books that I want to finish before spooky season. As soon as September hits, I'm like all about like fall books and the cozy books and, you know, the spooky mystery thrillers. I'm all about that. So I do have quite a few summer picks, and then I also have 1, 2, 3, I think like a couple I don't physically have, but I may have the audiobook, or I may have to rent it from the library for the audiobook because I have to read a couple for a video, which I'll get to in a sec. We're just gonna dive on in. So I think I'm gonna start this one next. This is Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. This is the same author who wrote Every Summer After that I mentioned earlier. A lot of people were disappointed with this book compared to Every Summer After. I'm just curious. I already own it. Sal got it for me as a birthday present. I want to check it out. I have high hopes. I'm hoping that maybe I will like it, and I think that the cover art is so beautiful, and this one just came out this year, so we have that. And if you notice that I'm not really explaining too much about what these books are about, it's mostly because I like to go into books pretty blind. I like to have roughly a loose idea depending on the book, but I like going into books blind because I just feel like I enjoy it so much more. Just get to learn and not make assumptions, and I feel like it just plays in my favor. Next we have Pineapple Street by Jenny Jackson. This one is just honestly beautiful. I mostly bought it for the cover. I think that it's about 3 different characters. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. We went to the Keys, which will actually be, I think, a vlog very soon. It might be the next video. We went to the Keys for our anniversary in May, and that's where I bought this book. And we stopped at John Pennycamp on the way home, and I got this super cute little bookmark on the way back. We went snorkeling there, and this is not at all what it looks like, but it did remind me of the Keys because we saw a bunch of like pirate ships at the Keys, so I kept the bookmark in here just to kind of fit the vibe, and it definitely gives summer vibes, but it's set in New York. I'm very excited for this, and my friend actually just read it. I'm curious to hear her thoughts, but it sounds cute. And also, like, look at the colors on the actual book itself. I just love pink and blue. Those are obviously some of my favorite colors. Okay, next we have a series that I'm gonna try my best to power through. I have the audiobooks on hold at the library just so I can try my best to get through them faster. And I feel like I'm the last person in the book community to read this series, but that's just how I am. Like, if something is really hyped up, I will take forever to get to it. It pushes me back. It throws me off. I don't know what it is. I feel like I just get slightly turned off when things are pretty overhyped. And it's really funny that I just said that now because what I just said will also mean something later on in this video. The series that I'm referring to is The Summer That I Turned Pretty. I found the set of 3 on Amazon for I think like 20 bucks for the 3 of them, which is just such a deal because one of them is $12. So you have The Summer I Turned Pretty, It's Not Summer Without You, and then lastly we have We'll Always Have Summer. And it's so cute, and like I wanted to read these last year, I just didn't get to them, and I'm just in love with the covers. Like they definitely just give off the perfect summer vibe. So obviously I want to finish those before hopping right into spooky season. And also I wanted to watch the series so bad because they just came out with season 2, but because I haven't read the books yet, I'm like, I don't want to watch it, so I haven't seen them yet. But I'm very excited to get into it, especially because I really enjoyed To All of the Boys That I Loved Before. Just give me that last ounce of summer vibes. Next we have What Happens After Midnight by K.L. Walther. So this is the same author who wrote Summer of Broken Rules. I read that earlier this year and I loved that book. I gave it 5 stars. It was just such a cozy comfort read. Also, the cover gives me way more like fall vibes, but I think it's set in like the end of the school year, so like May. So I know that it takes place at a boarding school, I think. Yeah, it takes place at a boarding school, and I know that has to do with like the senior prank, and the main character partners up with her ex. I started listening to this briefly, but I was like kind of distracted. But I will say, diving into it, it sounds like, and it's funny that I keep referring to her, but it sounds like the mom was definitely inspired by Lorelai Gilmore. Like just the banter and the way that she speaks. So I guess her mom is a part of the story as well. So I don't know if she's important or not. I only listened to the first chapter. My hopes aren't super high, but I'm hoping that it'll be a good lighthearted YA read. And lastly, I have a video that I'm going to be filming very soon where I will be reading a lot of books by one of the most popular authors out there because I have put off reading her books for the last year. And because I waited so long, I was like, well, I might as well film a video about it since so many people are obsessed with her books. And if you haven't guessed by now, that is Colleen Hoover. So I have It Ends With Us, Ugly Love, and last but not least, Verity. This one I'm the most excited for just because I've heard nothing but incredible things about it. And I ordered this when it came out, the collector's edition, because I guess it had an extra chapter or something. So I was like, well, I might as well get that. Oh my gosh, I already put tabs in it. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna tab it. So we shall see. And depending how long it takes me to read these, I may include a couple of her other books because I own the audiobook versions of them. I have Layla and I have Heartbones. I don't know if I'm gonna do 3 books or 5 books yet, but there will be a video of me reading them. It's gonna be a full reading vlog of me reading them over a span of a couple weeks probably. That will be coming very soon. So I'm very excited. I haven't read any of her books except for November 9th last year. And that was just because it was a book club pick. So, and I still have the footage of me reading that, so I will probably include that in the video. Yeah, I'm excited. So that is all for today's video. Let me know your thoughts. Have you read any of these books? Are they on your TBR? What is on your TBR for August? Leave everything down below. Like I said, please leave it spoiler free, and expect more reading vlogs and some other fun videos upcoming. But anyway, I hope you guys have a magical day. Thank you so much for watching, and you guys will see me very soon. Bye guys.